How you doing? This is Melvin Brown. Welcome back to the Hoodoo Show. Now today, it will not be a topic. Today will be a story time. Now listen. Now, I got a crazy story time to tell y'all. Now listen. Before the story time gets serious. Now, to my subscribers, to my viewers, to my audience, can y'all please leave a comment on this one? Can y'all please leave a comment? Because I have to get some clarifications and get some information. Now, please leave a comment before I start this story. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I met my brother. We just sitting there having a good time, and laughing, talking about our memories on this block as childs and how I used to come home on the weekend and cause hell, throwing rocks at people's cars, kicking doors in, doing little crazy young people stuff. And we was laughing, just having a good time, like we was buzzed. Now listen, the story's about to get serious, so viewer discretion is advised. So, me and my brother having a good time. We drinking teleport. We getting buzzed off that cheap wine. Next thing you know, I decided to go and use the bathroom. Now, I was using the bathroom, minding my business. Wash my hands, get out. I wanted to say hi to my brother's grandmother. Now, listen, since I've been in this field, I can peep game what's going on. So all I know is, I'm like, hi, how you doing? Long time I haven't seen you. Give me a hug and a kiss. Now, remember, I don't know what happened a couple years ago, but something traumatic happened in her life. Something traumatic happened so bad in her life that we thought the grandmother had a stroke. But the doctor said it's just mental. Like, she just basically had a nervous breakdown. She can't say her words right. So basically, if she want to say Melvin, she would. This is how she would say Melvin. She was like, hi. I mean, that's how she would say it. Like, she can't get the words right. So I gave her a hug. Next thing you know, I go back downstairs. I sit on the porch. I look my brother dead in his face and I said, bro, I think we need to talk. And he said, what you mean we need to talk? I'm like, bro, all jokes aside, we have to talk. Okay, so I asked him some questions. I said, bro, now listen, you know how I get down. You know I do spirituality. You know I help people and everything. He said, Melvin, I understand that you do everything. I said, look, I need you to be 100% clear with me and give me a full detail. You might seem like a weirdo, but you're talking to me, so you don't have to worry about nothing. Fuck everybody, you can come in the house. He comes to the house. He goes in the house. We sitting on the couch. We talking. I asked my brother, I said, bro, listen, all jokes to the side. Did anybody put a root on your grandmom? And he said, a root? And I said, yo, did your grandmom ever do anything crazy to people, like broke some man heart, owed people money, did them dirty, she had a nasty attitude? He said my grandma was known to be scamming people and scheming people for their money and just doing crazy stuff that was uncalled for. I said, okay, bro, now listen, I want you to talk to me. I said, bro, I think a root is on your grandma. And he said, how you figure? I said, bro, as I've been in this field and I've been talking to a few people, I could put two and two together and know who got mental illness and who got a root. Now, I remember a couple years ago, bro, when I was a little kid, your grandma was completely fine, healthy, laughing and giggling and turning up. He wouldn't tell me somebody was a root. He was like, I don't know. My grandma have a private life. I don't know. I said, all right, listen. Let me ask you a question. When your uncle passed away, what happened? My brother looked me dead in my face and he said, bro, I don't want to talk about that. I said, bro, I'm trying to help you. Now I got to get professional because I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to put two and two together. You have to talk to me. Tell me something. Please tell me something. And he said, bro, you know how close I was to my uncle. Bro, I don't like talking about it. I don't want to talk about it. I said, well, listen, you have to talk about it or else I ain't going nowhere, or I'm going to stay in this house and held myself hostage. He said, why are you acting crazy? I said, I'm not acting crazy. I want to prove a point to you. So he said, I don't want to talk about that. So I said, okay, now listen. If you don't want to talk about that, let me ask you a few questions. He said, what? You want to know somebody put a root on my grandma? I said, no. I want to know this. Was your grandma's house haunted? Have you seen any paranormal stuff or saw any paranormal stuff, or have you witnessed anything? Have you had dreams, nightmares? All of a sudden, my brother just looked at me, get real spooked out, and he didn't want to talk. For a half an hour, he left and he ran around the corner and started smoking weed in the playground. Started smoking weed in the playground. I go down there. I follow him. I said, bro, you need to talk to me. I said, listen, was there any paranormal activities that appeared before your uncle passed away or after your uncle passed away? He said, I don't want to talk about it. Can you please not talk about it? So we start arguing. I'm telling him I'm trying to help him. He didn't want to hear it. So all of a sudden, he winds up opening up. He was talking about his childhood. He was saying when he was a little kid and he used to sleep in a room, all of a sudden the door would start moving. When he was a little kid, he used to get these smells out of nowhere. He used to smell stuff out of nowhere. The whole room just starts smelling rotten. He said it smelled worse than shit. It smelled worse than a dead body. And it would just always fuck with me. Because I can't describe the smell to you, but it was always out this world. When I used to be in bed at night, Melvin, it felt like something was tormenting me. Not tormenting me, torturing me, but sometimes I couldn't breathe. I had sleep paralysis. I didn't know what was going on. I would tell my grandma about it and she thought I was crazy. I tell my mom about it, she thought I was crazy. Nobody didn't believe me, so they thought I was crazy. So I said, fuck it. I'm gonna keep this shit to myself and just keep it moving, because I don't got time to be talking about it, because people, every time I tell somebody about it, they think I'm fucking crazy. I said, bro, you ain't crazy. Shit happens to people all the time. People just don't want to believe. Okay, what happens? All of a sudden, my brother was sitting there minding his business. I think my brother would have to be about, he said when this happened, he was about 10 years old when this happened. He was sitting there minding his business, playing a video game, and all of a sudden, the SWAT team break in the house, looking for his uncle. The uncle surrendered himself. The reason that he surrendered himself was because they connected him to a homicide, but he beat the case because there was lack of evidence. All of a sudden, after his uncle beat the case, all of a sudden, his uncle started getting sick, started getting ill. Put him in the hospital. All of a sudden, they diagnosed the man with cancer. But the doctors caught the cancer on time. So if he would have got treatment, he did get treatment. So if he had treatment, it would have been, I think he would have been in remission. He would have been fine. Okay, let's fast forward. His uncle was in chemo. He told me the story. His uncle was in chemotherapy. He's like, Melvin, my uncle was in chemotherapy. He was weak. He would sleep all day. When he was up, he would come visit me, come hang out with me, sleep in my bed. He used to complain about how he didn't like to sleeping at his mom's house because he felt like something was haunting him and something was sucking him and drinking him dry. And he didn't like to be there with his mom. And I said, why he didn't like to be there with his mom? Because he said, all my mom would do, she wouldn't even leave no food there with me. She would just lock the whole house down, and I'd be so weak I can't get out the bed. I said, wow, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. I said, your uncle told you that? He said, yeah. So my brother was getting more detail. He was like, I would hate to go to my grandma's house every time I get kicked out the house from my mom. I said, why? He said because it was torture. It wasn't torture because it was boring there. Something was in that house that I could not describe. And he was like, Melvin, you remember that time when my mom kicked me out for 2 months, and for 2 months I stayed over your house and slept down the basement? I said, yeah. He said the reason I came over your house because I wanted to be around people, and I ain't like and I feel like the house was so haunted. The house was so haunted, and I ain't want to be there. And I said, bro, when I was a little kid, every time your grandma would invite me to that house, all of a sudden, as soon as I walk to the steps, I just get these chills up my spine that I can't describe what's going on. So I would just go back in the car and sit down, wait for you to come back in. And he said, I understand. I said, bro, I believe that house was haunted. But let's continue the story. Okay. While his uncle was sick, the mother, my brother, grandmother, his mother, the uncle mother, would lock the house and go about her business, having fun, partying, drinking, having a good time, and come back and go to sleep. One day, she did that. She come back home, she check on him, and he was dead. He died. Now, listen. Okay, listen. I'm not crying. The story gets really, really tough. When my brother uncle was sick, the mother would strap him down on the bed, and she would leave the house and come back. The reason of his death was dehydration. Now listen, I'm just pausing right now because this story is one of the toughest stories ever I ever had to cover. Listen, he passed away. All of a sudden, my brother tells me some more. He tells me some more things. I ask some questions. I say, bro, listen, when your uncle passed away, did you take any belongings? He said, yes, I took a lot of belongings. I said, bro, before your uncle passed away and everything, when the cops came in, that's when the paranormal activity started? He said it happened around that time. I said, okay. Now listen. Describe one of the most traumatic thing happened. He said he was sleeping. He woke up in the middle of sleep. He seen a human figure shadow with an afro. He woke up and he screamed and the shadow disappeared. When the cops swarmed in and my brother did some research, the person that his uncle was accused of killing had an afro. I put two and two together and I said, bro, I'm sorry to tell you this, bro. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I have to tell you this. Whatever happened to your uncle, that spirit came back to collect and fuck him and fuck with him. They wasn't trying to fuck with you, but you had the side effects of the warnings. They was trying to get what they needed and they got your uncle. That's how your uncle passed away. And he agreed with that. He said, I understand 100% because ever since my uncle passed away, that stopped it. And all of a sudden, my uncle scents, like the way he smelled, start popping up in the house. And you know, I'm just like, okay, that could be an ancestor, that could be a god, that could be a guardian. He said when the first smell happened, his grandma lost her speech. And next thing you know, they try to take care of her, make sure she's fine. But the doctors did a CAT scan. They said they don't see no brain damage. They don't see nothing. So they kept it moving. All of a sudden, a few months go by, probably 8 months. 8 months go by. The smell comes back again. What happens? The grandma somehow burned herself. She was cooking and the grease burst and hit her chest. Left her with burn marks. I don't know what degree, but left her burn marks on her chest. That they had to grab skin from her thighs. Okay. A few years later, he tells me the odor pops up again. And I said, what happened then? He said, Melvin, all I can tell you is this. I said, what? He said, my grandma went out shopping, and it was snowing. It was real cold out there. She went in the playground. She was just sitting there smoking a cigarette, minding her business. All of a sudden, my grandma passed out. While the snow was coming down. Like it was in Philadelphia, when it gets December around this time, it gets really, really cold. So she passed out. They couldn't find her for almost, I think, a day or 2 days. They couldn't find her for almost a half a day. They found her buried under the snow. They recovered her. She survived. What happened? 8 her fingers, four on her right, 4 on her left, was removed due to false bites. And he said ever since that happened, I don't smell no more odors. And I said, bro, look, listen, I don't know what your uncle did to cause this to happen. I don't know what your grandmother did to your uncle for this to happen, but it was some type of karma that the spirits was after him, and he just sat there and he cried. I cried with him because you gotta understand, you can't treat everybody how you wanted to be treated. How you can't treat everybody with disrespect, because you think just because they passed away, they can still come back and torment you and haunt you. And they did that. And for the audience, I need y'all to literally tell me what happened. Like, is my conspiracy theory, is my case together that it need to be together, or there's more stuff? Because, you know, ever since then, things just stopped. He ain't had no order, he ain't had nothing. This is crazy. This is literally crazy. So can y'all please leave a comment, subscribe. This is Melvin Brown, and this is the Hoodoo Show, and I'm out. That's all I had to say. Like, this is one of the most craziest stories that I ever had in my life. Me telling y'all this give me goosebumps, because you just gotta be careful who you treat, because you don't know they passed away. You thinking, oh, they passed away, they can't do nothing. 9 times out of 10, they can come back. And a core matter of fact, you won't know it's them. But my brother, he's not even spiritual, and he was giving me insight of shit that was happening. So this is Melvin Brown. This is the Hoodoo Show. Leave a comment, subscribe, email me. I'm out.